Testing mic. Testing mic. Looks like everything's working. Hope everyone's having a great day. Also, it's April 6th, so I hope everyone had a good Easter if they celebrate it. I hope they spent some time with their families and their loved ones. If not, I hope you had some fun with your friends. Anywho, I don't believe I've streamed in over a week. I think last Sunday would have been the last time I streamed, and I believe it would have been my reaction to a One Piece manga chapter. But I also believe I finished the 4.1 story and Honkai Star Rail that same day, because I remember editing and uploading that recently. So if you're on the YouTube channel and you want to see my playthrough of that, it's in a playlist. Go watch that if that's your jam. But I don't know how much overlap there is actually on my channel, because we are a little bit of a variety streamer, because I do this as a hobby. So I play games, I read manga, I react to news, and other things. And I also play card games. So there's a whole laundry list of stuff on the channel if you can go check it out. If you're a longtime fan, you can probably even find some old skits from when I started this channel back in like 2011. Anywho, those of you watching on Twitch, however, well, you're probably sitting through ads because you're not subscribed. Anywho, enough distractions. I've been putting off this chapter for a while because it came out yesterday, and because I was away from home, I didn't have an opportunity to sit and read and record this. So, without further ado, I believe it's time for me to plug the Discord. If you want to know what I'm going to be doing when I'm going to be doing it, I let people know last week that the next stream would be on Monday, and it is Monday night right now. That's where I let people know what I'm doing and when I'm doing it. It's where I keep all my updates posted, and it's also where I take requests for stuff that I would possibly react to if I had not been informed of it otherwise. Also, while I was getting this stream set up, actually, I was reacting to the drip feed for, I guess, 4.3 Honkai Star Rail's update. They just dropped the drip feed for the new character. Mortonax Blade? Sounds cool. Sounds Viking-y. But anywho, that's content that probably doesn't cross over to this. If you're here, you're here for One Piece. So, without further ado, let's just jump straight into page 1. We got another reader request. It appears to be Yamato, Ace, and Otama hanging out. I'm sure this is a happy image of what could have been, or possibly a happy image of what might have happened. We don't really know a lot about Ace's trip to Wano, so who knows what all went down there in his trip. It was heavily abridged, and we only basically got second-hand tellings of what happened in there. But that's not the main draw of this chapter. I think the main draw of this chapter is the title of this chapter, which is chapter 1179, NERONA... Wait, has it always been? It says NERONA IMU Descends. I could have sworn it was NEROMA. Have I just been misremembering that for so long? IMU NERONA. NERONA IMU Descends. So it looks like IMU going to show up in person. Maybe we'll get a face reveal. I doubt it, but it looks like IMU is probably going to show up in person. Usopp's rage bait was successful, and we might actually end the Elbaph arc with IMU being defeated, leaving nothing but a rat race for the One Piece as the remaining arcs of One Piece. So maybe it's a good thing that we're starting to deal with the world government here, and if IMU NERONA gets taken out, maybe somebody else will take over the world government in his stead. Someone like Garling, or someone like Shamrock. But who knows? I'm getting really speculative into what's going on. Normally I would leave these kind of things for the predictions section that I usually do at the end of the chapter reading. And for those who watch my videos of these when I put the VODs on YouTube, because I don't edit these, I actually put full chapter descriptions in the video description so that you can just click to whichever part on the thumbnail you want to get to, and you'll be able to find my reaction to a specific moment in the chapter, as well as when my reactions and outros are. My predictions, highlights, and etc. Well, we've rambled on page 1 for long enough. I believe it's time to move on to pages 2 and 3. Alright, looks like the 5 elders are already trying to talk IMU out of going. And we get another shot of Mary Joa. We can still see the rubble at the bottom of that panel. The Hall of Power, which I always forget that this is called the Hall of Power, where the five elders hang out. I only spot 4 elders in here right now. Marcus Mars standing as usual. You don't mean to go to Elbaph, do you? Please don't do this. You mustn't descend to the lower world. Why mustn't they? I don't know, my hat. I need to get a new hat. I'm thinking about ordering a bicorn, because this one's kind of awkward to wear. I do admit that this hat looks good, though. Oh, Garling is here. It looks like he's just entering the room now. Not be so smug and secure. Do you think that the Holy Land can remain safe forever? With Shamrock's return, it seems that the situation is quelled, but the lower world's plan to starve us out still continues. That's right. The anime, actually, for One Piece has started up since in the last week. So it is now resuming. The first episode of the Elbaph arc in anime form is now available on Crunchyroll, if for those who actually watch the streaming of the arc. But that's not neither here nor there. Anywho, where was I? Reading what Garling was saying. What's Garling saying? Shamrock's return. Lower world's going to starve us out. Yeah, the most recent episode of the first episode of the Elbaph arc, we did get a large chunk of the episode dedicated to the Revolutionary Army's plan to starve out the Holy Land. They showed like the bombing of the balloondolas or gondolas or whatever they're called, as well as like Umit shipping getting bombed. Dignity and power will not fill our stomachs. What can we do on our own? What we need right now is the military might to keep the rest of the world under our thumbs. And then there's the former Navy headquarters. Oh, the former Navy headquarters. I think this is the first time former Navy headquarters has been brought up. Ever since it got really destroyed during the Marineford arc, I don't think we really cut back to it all that often. Oh my god, he's gotten a phone call. Garlic, where's all the food? This isn't very Celestial Dragon-y. Oh, the snail phone is, it's York. I forgot that York should be here. If they're gonna keep York's deal, I guess. Power plant lab base in Mary Joa. I warned you about this, York. The Holy Land is under a food shortage, and one of the things that can break the siege is the Mother Flame. If you want to live like a Celestial Dragon, then hurry up and produce energy for us. But I'm hungry. I don't know how they say this in the original Japanese, but the way the hungry is spelled in the English, it's Hungree instead of Y. This wasn't part of the deal. Needless to say, your original form, Vegapunk, is one of the rebellious forces arrayed against us. Consider this a way for you to take responsibility for yourself. Alright. Well, that's right. Oh, yeah, Garling said that he was going to have York directly under their command. I believe he said that when he was first appointed to be one of the five elders. And we're kind of seeing this play out right now on pages 2 and 3. We're seeing Garling handling science and defense, and he's handling science and defense. And also Garling is in favor of IMU going out and about, I guess? I guess they just have a lot of respect for IMU's military strength, or whatever that means, coming from Garling. Anywho, I guess we're done with pages 2 and 3, so I guess we can move on to pages 3 and 4. Sorry, pages 4 and 5. It's been one disaster after another. It all started with the arrival of Nika. Okay, the five elders are still blabbering. Is it a coincidence or fate? Be that as it may, great Emu, you should not leave Pangea Castle. We can send the Navy Admirals from our headquarters to Elbaph. Ooh, that would have been nice if the Admirals showed up on Elbaph. No, just count the number of situations we're dealing with right now. There's too much going on. then we should head into the field again. Ooh, Warkery with a really good idea. If the 5 Elders just showed up on Elbaph, we'd have 2 arcs back-to-back of the 5 Elders fighting. And maybe we could deal with more 5 Elders instead of Emu, so Emu doesn't have to show up in person, I guess. This is no longer coincidence, Warkery. Arrogance, sloth, detachment, pride, casteth away these things at once. All is preordained. Interesting. Oh, and then we get to see the flashback of Rox when he showed up in the flower room. I will be back. You'll have to search the world. We see a clip of Gold Roger at the execution. Seems Neptune had a daughter. We see Shirahoshi being born. We see Shanks stealing the Devil Fruit. And a panel of Herald. What is an Elbaph? Oh, we see Loki. We found out who the pirate captain in the mist is. He is Loki, Herald's son. Whitebeard protected him. Who is it? Monkey D. Luffy. I know we're seeing some more clips from Marineford of Whitebeard protecting Luffy. Who is that? Marshall D. Teach. Okay, so we're seeing a whole bunch of flashback panels here that don't have the black flashback frame around it, which makes me wonder if these are supposed to be flashbacks or not. But it's definitely meant to give off the image of everything. I guess each one of these images is what thoughts are running through the author's mind or Emu's mind of these are moments that are supposed to give credence to the claim that everything is preordained according to Lord Emu. I refuse to believe in fatalism or determinism, so until you give me some hard evidence, I am inclined to disagree with you, Lord Emu. And with that, I shall move to pages 6 and 7. Oh, we're still doing these flashback panels. We got Nefeltari D. Lily, the announcement that Cobra gave right before he got killed. Oh, and now we're seeing the context of when Emu was slashing the posters when we first saw Emu in the flower room. He's saying Joy Boy and Davy Jones. We now know why he slashed up Luffy and Blackbeard's posters. Still, you continue to torment Emu. I desire Vivi, and that was with that entire plotline. We still don't know why they want Vivi. We'll only have speculation. And it has something to do with Nefeltari D. Lily. It all began long before this, Great Emu. The Holy Land I leave to thee, but Great Emu, in the lower world you are. We do not have the right to stop one so great, but still, if Great Emu leaves the castle, no need to say it, we all know. It is by the Great One's design. None of us can prevent it. So something bad will happen if Emu leaves? Is that what we're trying to imply here? Well, we see them getting on the teleport circle, and then they poof, and then they are away, and then we see an outer shot of Pangaea Castle. And I guess that's it that's on these 2 pages. Well, I feel like these flashback panels finally give us some context, because we actually got some internal thoughts. We had to see a little bit more insight into Emu's mind, and a little bit more insight into their motivations. Honestly, it's really just nice to see the 5 Elders have so much to talk about. Every time we cut to the Hall of Power and the 5 Elders are blabbering on, it's always really exciting politics stuff for me. I'm loving it, and I'm relishing in every single moment of it. But we get a few external shots of Pangaea Castle again, with some onomatopoeia text coming off of it. As we transition into smaller and smaller panels, I believe it's time to move on to pages 8 and 9 to see where this is going. I'm assuming we're going to cut to lightning bolts striking Artist Castle as Emu appears at the teleportation circle in Artist Castle. Alright, let's go on. Pages 8 and 9. Let's see if that's correct. Elbaph New World. Western Village. Okay, we're not cutting back to Emu yet. Arrogant Stanson. Look at this, one of the demons was trying to put himself together again. Okay, I guess they caught Sommers. So much for Sommers getting back up to fight again. Damn it, not again. And he's still alive? Look. It's like a magnet. It's scary. Kurt's holding Sommers as he's trying to pull himself back together. Not half as scary as you, he says. Oh, that is some small print over there. I'm going to have to zoom in and read that. That is a lot of text in that bubble over there. You said your name was Gerd. I'll remember that. You better watch yourself because I'll personally see to it that you experience a miserable death, you wretch. I half expected him to call her a bitch, but he said wretch. Or wench is what I would have thought. I misread that as a wench, but it's a wretch. Alright. You should look at this too. Hmm? Oh. What do we got here? A steel heart! Okay, so it was metal. There was some speculation in the community about whether his heart was steel or if it was just black coated in hockey. Does a steel heart, does that mean if Zoro's making an assumption already, if we destroy this, they won't be able to go back to normal? Sommers looks freaked out. That might be what I put in the thumbnail. Alright, and then we cut away to the Warris school, to Nami's group, I guess. Usopp and Brook hang in there. They got broken bones. Maybe we should cyborgize them all. No, Frankie, we don't need to turn Usopp into a cyborg. Or do we? I don't think we do. I know some of the community have constantly been complaining that Usopp isn't strong enough or whatever to be on the crew of the Pirate King at this point, but Usopp has done plenty. Where's Chopper? Alright, they got Killingham strung up into 3 pieces. He's now hanging from a tree, and it's very easy and obvious to see all 3 of his pieces now. I'm gonna personally remember you, Sanji, for revenge. Now say mine. I forget. Okay, so they're trying to establish a rivalry between Killingham and Sanji, and it's going nowhere. And it looks like the ice cube Gunku is starting to melt. I don't know what the climate is like in the middle level of Elbaph, but I guess it's temperate enough to where a giant block of ice can't just stay a giant block of ice. Anywho, that's all that's going on here, but I might take a screen cap of this page real quick because I kind of want to use that Sommers image in the thumbnail, because Sommers has, time and again, always given us some beautiful panels of how expressive his facial mobility is. Especially when he's scared shitless. Alright, I guess it's time to move on to pages 10 and 11. Oh, and I see at the top of page 11, a giant black lightning bolt, which means, and it looks like it's near Aura's castle. But I'll get to page 11 when I'm done reading page 10. Why is the school frozen? It's not. I merely sapped all of its heat energy. That's kind of what I understood. A lot of people in the community thought it was ice powers for some reason, but people don't understand how heat works. Heat is just the vibration of molecules, so if you take all heat out of an object, it's frozen. That's absolute zero. It's like, as cold as something gets is the absence of heat. Cold is just the absence of heat. You don't make something cold, you make it less hot. School, food's frozen, sold, don't even taste good. Foog. Oh, right, Luffy is in his old man form and he needs food. Gotta give some to Usopp and Brook. Not until you get back to normal. Okay. Hey, Loki, that bad guy you froze, is she dead? Okay, valid question. A flash freeze, it won't be fatal. But only this guy can melt the ice. Oh, so the freeze is actually Ragnir's power. Interesting. They're not going anywhere. Oh, Nami's looking at something. I guess we see Zeus is still putting out all the fires. Oh, Nami is spotting the giant lightning bolt. I now see in the giant lightning bolt panel there's a Nami screaming little bubble in the bottom corner of it. I didn't notice that when I was just glancing out of the corner of my eye. So, yep. Oh, that's actually. Oh, that's one, two, three. Oh, the four. There's four more of those lightning bolts. Oh, that's not good. That's a lot of Black Lightning. I should finish watching Black Lightning. I never got around to finishing the second season of that show. Anywho, problem for a future me. That ain't just black smoke. Look in the sky. Well, if they're telling them to look in the sky after the panels of the giant black lightning bolts hitting the ground, it makes me wonder what's going to be happening on the top of pages 12 and 13, because we're probably about to get a big spread. But I guess the biggest takeaway from these things, other than the massive lightning bolts and the funny reaction from Nami, and also Nami appearing to sense the lightning coming before it happens, Nami's weird weather forecasting ability always being shown and showcased. But yeah, Ragnir has ice powers, not Loki. Good to know. Alright, moving on to pages 12 and 13. Oh! That's why there's 5 black lightning bolts coming from the sky. There's a giant pentagram in the sky now, and each one of the lightning bolts is coming from one of the points of the 5-pointed star. And they're all surrounding Orust Castle. It's a magic circle. Everyone come quick. What's all the rambling about? Don't worry, Nami, I'm with you. Yes, Sanji, we know you got this. Nami is not... No harm will come to Nami while Sanji is within stone-throwing distance. Excuse me? Baba Yaga? Is that you? The houses... they're animating. The houses are angry. The houses are getting up and walking around. Why are the houses attacking? Even the forest, the trees are coming to life. Is this someone else's power? There's also some musical notes in some of these. It's going... Drone, drone, gyo, gyo, wa. Drone, drone, gen, ho, don, don. Dun, 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 drone, 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 drone. So this is probably a new music. So if Luffy has the drums of liberation, this is something evil, something wicked. This is the power of Conqueror going on. Even the boom booms of the lightning striking have music notes attached to them in the text bubbles. So this is actually going to be very interesting. So the lightning is striking and stuff around the lightning is coming to life. Or I guess maybe it's stuff within the circle. I can't tell. I need another wide shot, or like from an aerial view. We get one of those at the bottom of pages 12 and 13, but I don't think it's enough. Because we can't see the stuff moving around, because it's a little bit too zoomed out. Alright, let's just turn that up a bit. Alright, let's move on to pages 14 and 15, since I'm just really excited to see what's going on. Last week's chapter was short, if I remember correctly, so I'm hoping we get like a full 17 pages this time. And I don't see a to be continued at the bottom of page 15, which means we will definitely be getting at least 16 pages. Oh, and now a lightning bolt has struck Orust Castle. That must be the one that I kept talking about, saying that one is probably Imu arriving. Oh, and there's a giant blast of Supreme King Haki as well coming from the castle. And it's the same one from before, says Loki, so that is 100% Imu arriving. There is no shadow of doubt. We now cut to the throne room inside Orust Castle. And he's coughing and wheezing? I guess he doesn't get out much. Hey, you know what's really funny to think about, that I know that Oda doesn't think about, but would be really funny? If Imu has been as insular and never leaving the castle as he would now, it would be very funny and very ironic that in reality, he would probably not be inoculated against most of the other diseases that would be outside of the region of his castle. So it's very easy that if he just shows up on Elbaph and leaves, he could just catch like malaria or something and die. Which is kind of something funny to think about. Like, I could give I suspend disbelief for like this not happening all the time to the Straw Hats because they have a really good doctor and Chopper around. But looking back at the story, Nami got bit by a bug on Little Garden and nearly died. What kind of diseases do you think might actually be running around in Elbaph? Alright, looks like Emu's forming from the muck and gunk in the same way that we saw the Gorosei do when they arrived on Egghead. Which, by the way, we know that they were able to teleport to Orist Castle because the sigil was there. And I believe they were only able to teleport to Egghead because Saint Saturn was there in person. So it makes me wonder why they didn't set up a symbol like that on Egghead if they were going to make it a government facility that was going to constantly be overseen by the government. It makes me wonder why they don't put these seals everywhere. I guess they could always send one of the 5 elders in person to a place that doesn't have one. But it makes me wonder why they don't set up more of these. Or I guess we don't know how many of them they have set up elsewhere, so I could just be speculating over nothing. Alright. People are wondering who the hockey belongs to, and they're going to make their way to the castle, so I guess it's time to move on to what is probably the final 2 pages of this chapter. Pages 16 and 17, let's go. Only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 panels on this page. Ooh my. So we get a wide shot of Elbaph. The houses are awooing. Oh, Killingham says great one. Sommers is saying, you mean in person? Someone's up there on top of the castle. Ooh, they got like awakened Zoan clouds around them too. Creator of the world government. One of the first 20 of power. One of the first 20. Which is the 20 kings, I guess. Power. The devil's fruit. Excuse me? King of the world. Saint NERONA Emu. So I guess this is kind of pseudo-confirmation that they have the devil fruit. Of the actual devil. That's huge! How did I not get spoiled of this? Man, I imagine everybody's been talking about this, and probably when I get off of this stream, I'm probably going to go sit and watch and see what the community has to say about this chapter, because holy crap, what's going on? And we do see their face. We see a wide shot of them sitting on top of the castle, where I might zoom in and see if I can get some better detailing on that. But, they got, like, skulls. They got a demon. They got a devil tail, this is the tail that killed King Cobra. They got the black clouds. They got a sprawling cape. They almost kind of look like more of a dragon than a demon, personally, but... And then we get a wider shot of them in the last panel, right on the To Be Continued, where we get a close-up of their face, and they got the ringed eyes, but they also got 2 horns coming up out of their forehead that were not visible in their silhouette form, which makes me think that they have a zone devil fruit. Power the devil's fruit is what it says in the Oda text box. So this is probably their hybrid form, if I had to guess. Their human devil hybrid form. If they're following the same rules as devil fruits we've seen so far. But they're calling this the devil's fruit! What am I supposed to do with that knowledge? Do any of the rules currently apply? Well, I guess this is the end of the chapter. I guess it's time to talk about highlights and predictions about what's going next. Well, a spectacular speech, I think, is long due. I feel like we're going to get a monologue next chapter, or we might get some more flashbacks. We're probably going to get some more insight into Emu's thoughts. Maybe they're going to try to kill Usopp. Who knows? What was that? My screen started glitching. Anywho, I don't really have much more to add here. The obvious highlight. How could anything in this chapter compare to Emu NERONA? I keep forgetting it's NERONA. I could have sworn it was NEROMA. I don't know why I thought it was NEROMA. It does confirm that they were one of the 20 kings, which actually lines up with the in-universe theory that was proposed by Ivankov so many chapters ago at this point. I think that was during the Egghead arc, right? Or no, that was during the Reverie arc. Or I guess the Return to Reverie arc that happened during Egghead, I guess. And I don't know what's going on with, like, all of the houses and trees coming to life. Imu's powers seem all over the place. And I guess now would be a good time to talk about, there was a supposed leaked ending of One Piece from, like, a year or two ago, where they talked about how the final battle of One Piece was, like, everybody teaming up against Satan or the devil or something, who had the power of every devil fruit. And that might be happening. That might be what's going on right now. I don't really know. This is kind of hard for me to take in. Especially since this is where we end the chapter on. Where we go from here is, if we do not beat Imu here, it calls into question what we will be doing for the remainder of One Piece. So we do still have a lot of enemies to take down. So if Imu goes down here, I've mentioned it at the beginning of the chapter, or at some point during the read-through, that if Imu goes down and falls here, then that's pretty much the world government mostly dealt with. The Revolutionary Army could probably go mop up what's left in Marijoa. They're all starving, I guess. They can't be doing too hot up there. Shamrock apparently has quelled whatever rebellion or riot was happening in Marijoa. So Shamrock could still possibly show up before this arc ends up, closing out. And if Shamrock, which I also mentioned at the beginning of this read-through, that it's quite possible that if Imu gets taken out, I could imagine someone like Shamrock ascending to the throne. How funny would it be for all the people predicting Imu final boss, if Imu gets defeated here, and then somebody just takes his place later down the line? We get a new King of the World. And also, King of the World, we get an actual Oda text box that says King of the World in it. I don't even know what to say more than that. He is the de facto King of the World. It was implied by the big chair, but now we have definitive Oda box. This is the King of the World! I'm gonna go check my spoilers section on Discord real quick to see if anyone in any of the Discords I follow is talking about this. I'm also in, like, the One Piece Tabletop RPG Discord, so I'm sure everybody over there is going nuts over this. So I'm gonna go scroll over to my Discord real quick as a little bonus section. Let's see what other One Piece creators have to say about what's going on in this chapter. Oh, they're talking about the leaks here. Interesting. They're commenting on what the Gorosei were talking about, which I guess I'll scroll back to as well. They're commenting on the comments from the Gorosei about how if he leaves the castle, something happens. So in other words, it sounds like something bad will happen to Marijoa while Imu is gone, is basically the implication there. People speculating that Loki might die. Imu might kill Loki by the end of the arc, paralleling Rocks. Yep, that is a pretty solid prediction. And people commenting on the first of the 20. Yeah, so that's pretty crazy. Anywho, I feel like I have not much more to say at this point. This has been a crazy couple of pages. And I'm going to probably be chatting with my friends throughout the night, speculating and talking about this. I actually spent some time with friends today. We talked about One Piece for about an hour as well, having not read this chapter yet, and somehow not getting spoiled, even by them. So this is world-ending. We are so close to the end of the story, you can actually taste the ending of One Piece coming. So, without further ado, we have gone through the chapter, we've read through a few sections, we've gone through some of the highlights. Obviously, the big highlight is Imu. Everything Imu. Although, honestly, a little lesser-known highlight that's a big highlight for me was actually seeing IMU slash up the posters of Luffy and Blackbeard. I feel like that's an underrated moment. In fact, I'm probably going to take a screen cap of that, because that might also be what I put in the thumbnail. Because I think this is an underrated moment that actually has such a huge impact, because we finally get context to what IMU was thinking at the time that they slashed up Luffy and Blackbeard's wanted posters. And I can't wait to see how many people have commented on that. So, moving on, I feel like that's all for now. Once again, reiterating that if you want to stay up to date on what I'm doing and when I'm doing it, I let people know my schedule in the Discord that I run. It's called Sheets and Sodor. I don't know if I've actually name-dropped it. That being said, I've been streaming for years now, so I'm sure that I've mentioned it by name before. Sheets and Sodor is the name of my Discord. It's linked at the bottom of every YouTube video that I've put out for like the last 5 years. And it's where I keep everyone updated. Not to mention, I do Twitch stream, twitch.tv/Sheets streams, but if you don't like the ads on Twitch, or the ads on YouTube, my recommendations to you would be to subscribe to me on Twitch, if you don't want ads there, or you could buy YouTube Premium and watch everything on YouTube. I think it's, what, like $18 a month or something for YouTube Premium? How much are they charging for that now? Or is it like or are there like a package system? I assume there's a package system. I haven't paid for like YouTube in a long time. But if you don't want to watch ads on my content, that's how you do that. You are going to spend money. That is the long and short of it. You can give the money to me by doing it on Twitch, but personally, I would recommend not doing that. Don't subscribe to me on Twitch unless you plan on being here in person. You're not going to get that much out of it. So, if you follow me on Discord, then you'll probably be informed on when I'm going live on Twitch, and that's going to be the best way for you to know when I'm doing stuff. But you can also just hang out and chat with me there. You get all the same benefits of watching live there by just hanging out in my Discord. Alright, the next couple of streams I have planned for the week. Let's talk about news for the channel before we go. So, Luna 6, I think, is coming out this week. I pre-downloaded it for Genshin, so we're probably going to do that as probably the next stream that I do. Although, I do want to get through some of the events and Simulated Universe stuff in 4.1, because I have like 9 days left to do that. And a new patch in Genshin, as much as I would love to do it the day it comes out, I don't have to. I'm going to have like 21 days to get through a lot of that content before events start happening there. Also, there's a Guild Chest event happening right now on Shadowverse Worlds Beyond. If you want to join my guild in Shadowverse Worlds Beyond, if you like card games, I would highly recommend Shadowverse Worlds Beyond. We're about to hit rotation, and there's a guild event going on right now, so you can get a lot of free stuff. They recently added a new feature where the game guide Yudi is now duelable in the Shadowverse Park. And frankly, I just want more people to play Shadowverse with. I like playing Shadowverse, but like none of my friends play Shadowverse, and some of the friends that did play it don't play it anymore, so it's just me. So, I could use some more friends. Guild is open, it's empty right now, all inactive members are no longer there. So, if there's any requests there, join up the guild there. Maybe I'll do another stream of just recruiting for the guild. And I believe since we didn't get a story update in the most recent update, in about a month's time there's going to be another story update. So look forward to seeing my story playthrough of Shadowverse Worlds Beyond. And you can actually keep up with the story there. I have a playlist on my YouTube channel. Which also reminds me that they just announced that the original Shadowverse client will be shutting down on the 10-year anniversary this year. So, June or July, if I remember correctly. So, it's kind of sad. I still have my full playthrough of the story of that, so it will remain on the channel from now to the end of time. So that at least my channel will form as some form of documentation of a playthrough of the story of Shadowverse, because it's going away. And that's kind of sad to think about. I don't normally talk this much at the ending outro of one of these streams, but this news needs to get out there. Well, go watch that playthrough if you haven't, or go play through it yourself. You have like 2 months to do so. Unless you're watching this at some point in the future and it's long since gone. And if it's gone at the time you're watching this, then I urge you to go watch my playthrough or somebody else's. I have it all documented, and I am in the process of putting chapters on all of it, if I haven't caught up and finished and done that by now. And if I have, good on me. If I haven't, get on that, me. So, go watch that, and I will continue to upload that playlist as Shadowverse Worlds Beyond adds to its story. And with that, I'm now out of news to talk about. So, without further ado, stay safe out there, and I will see you all in the next stream. Ta-ta, and stay safe.